What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing the CDL week, Super Week Day 3. We got 3 more matchups today. 3 games slate on Draftkings, and if you're new to this channel and you're just curious to what this is, I give out picks or just like my general input on certain matchups, well, all matchups basically for the Call of Duty League in regards to daily fantasy sports. And we try to make money in this channel or try to give advice on what value plays are in the slate, so we can make money on Call of Duty DFS. uh, I want to recap some of the games from yesterday. I don't think anybody thought the Paris Legion was going to sweep the Florida Mutineers. Craziest upset ever. You know, so crazy. I saw a couple comments like on the chat like before the game started of people saying, "What if Paris Legion swept them, 3-0 to them?" I never thought it was gonna happen, but it happened. So it just goes to show you never know what's gonna happen in the professional setting. When things are on the line, teams rally and they can beat anybody. So that's the beauty of competition, am I right? But we got 3 games today. I really think that these games aren't going to be like yesterday, where every single match was a sweep. The first game, which was Paris Legion against, like I said, Florida Mutineers, was a sweep, and then the New York Subliners swept the London Royal Ravens, and then the Minnesota Rockers swept the Seattle Surge. So today, we're going to be going over these matchups, and let's get to it. So for the first game, we have the Dallas Empire against the London Royal Ravens, who, may I add, got swept yesterday 3-0 by the New York Subliners, a team that the Dallas Empire has 3-0 themselves in their past matchup. The odds for this game are insane. I want you guys, you guys who know about betting, I want you to see this. This is insane. The Dallas Empire is favored to win by minus 1400. You don't see those odds too often. And let me tell you, it's with a good reason why those odds are like that. London Royal Ravens are favored to win plus 725. Um, and I think it's not impossible that they win the match. Obviously, anything is possible. Anything is possible in life. But this is one of the things where it's very, very, very hard. So, you know, the spread on that is minus 2.5, minus 120 on the spread, and the total is an over of 3.5, which is favored to win at 115, minus 115. And I honestly, man, I am completely fading London Royal Ravens because they looked terrible yesterday against the New York Subliners. The New York Subliners is a decent team. Obviously, they're not terrible, but the London Royal Ravens, I think, might be the worst team right now. Either them or the Seattle Surge, they might be the worst team right now on paper in the CDL. And I truly don't believe in the London Royal Raven as a squad, so I really do think they are the worst team in the CDL right now. Um, the Seattle Surge at least has a win. Um, I'm completely fading them. I'm not even looking at their prices. Yeah, one of their players, maybe Alex or Dylan, like maybe they can pop off or something, and then they end up like. I don't think they're gonna pop off against Dallas, but they could get a decent amount of kills, And with DraftKings' stupid rule where even the losing team that gets swept gets points, they might end up in a winning lineup somewhere. But it's very rare. Like for cash games, for safe games, like they're not in play. They really aren't. Um, Neither is their team. Obviously, 2,000 and 3,000 for cap. I'm not even looking at that. But for the Dallas Empire, who is going to win, I would bet my house that they were going to win. Um, I really like Shotzi and Illy, who are the cheapest guys out of the bunch. Um, Illy is at 11,700 for the captain position, which is a decent price. At flex, he's 7,800 though, and that's what I like. Shotzi is 8,200 at the flex position, and that is what I love to hear because that means I could pay up for somebody else to be a captain. Um, that is too cheap. I don't think we're going to see Shotzi that cheap going forward if he keeps doing good. I don't know why he's that cheap right now. Um, his cap is 12,300. Hugh is a beast. I just feel like his price is very expensive. 15,600 for cap, and I think it's 10,400 for the no, yeah, 10,400 for the flex. But you know, Hugh is a beast. Everybody, even Crimsix is 8,000, but I just rather pay 200 more for Shotzi, and then pass on Crim or not pass on Crim. You know, it depends. You just gotta uh, build lineups around the players that you want, um, and the team that you select, so you have enough money and cap space and stay within the limits of the lineup rules. But I really think that Shotzi and Ilya are very good values in this game, and I am very excited to see how Dallas dominate in this game. And let's go move on to the next game. The Seattle Surge versus the LA Thieves. This is going to be a good game to watch. I really want to watch this game because the LA Thieves are 2-0 right now in the season. And they have surprised a lot of people. You know, not everybody was thinking, maybe that we're going to get smacked around and stuff. They thought that the LA Thieves, including myself, like I thought that the LA Thieves had something to prove. I thought that we're going to have struggles maybe in the beginning, just like every new team. But they are doing pretty good. I mean, Slasher, Kenny, and TJ Halley were on the same team last season, so the dynamic I guess is still the same. Temp is a new addition. I thought they were going to struggle a little bit, but they're 2-0 in the season. Now they're going up against the Seattle Surge, who are 1-2. Um, I think the Seattle Surge, like I said, I stand by this. I really do think they got the talent to be a very good team. Um, Octane, Pristini, Gunless, Looney, they're all four of them are very good players, as well as the LA Thieves. That's why I'm so curious to see where this match is going to go. Uh, I don't know if the LA Thieves are going to sleep on the surge. It could happen. I don't know if they're going to sweep. I don't know if the Thieves are going to sweep. I mean, they are heavily favored to win, minus 575 and plus 30 for Seattle Surge. Um, the over three rounds is minus 210. So I do think that the Seattle Surge are going to take a couple rounds, a couple matches, might I say, couple games. But I think I think maybe it's going to have to be in like a search and destroy or something because I think that the Surge have been struggling in hardpoint. A lot of several teams have been struggling in hardpoint. Um, but I really do think that based on what we've seen from the LA Thieves, they've looked pretty strong against the Subliners and the Minnesota Rocker, who both are decent team. Subliners is a decent team. That match was really good. It went down to the wire. The Subliners made them work for it, but they got it. They ended up getting it. So uh, as well as the Minnesota Rocker, they upset the Minnesota Rocker, and that was crazy to see. But I really think um, I'm not sure. Like who I think is going to win, probably LAFDs based on what we've seen. I think Surge can beat them, but in terms of DFS prices, uh, there are certain prices that stand out here for me that I really like. I like Octane at 9,400. The closer we can get him at 9,000, that's very good because he really always returns on his value, even in a loss. He usually does get a decent amount of kills. He usually is the player with the highest upside in that team, and as long as his price stays like in the 9,000 lower 9,000 range, I really like that. um Pristini is good too. 5,800 for Pristini. I think that's disrespect. I mean, I'm not sure if he's been doing great recently, but I know what he's capable of. And in DFS, you know that upside is key. If you could ever get a player who is very good at a cheap price, you want to take that opportunity, you know, because that piece could be the key to, you know, making a stack team even better, later in the matches, when you've already accrued all your points, and the only players that you have that need to win you the tournaments basically, or the contests, are those players that are the cheapest. So I really think Pristini has a great value here. Gunless is very expensive at the cap, 13,800 and 9,200. I think he might be a little too expensive. Um, because of the hype with this computer, I guess. But Looney is kind of expensive too in the cap. Well, not too expensive, but nobody's ever gonna put him in the cap. I don't suggest him putting in the cap. Um, his upside is kind of limited. 6,200, you could pay that for him. It's all about if you have space for him after you've made your the base of your lineups. Um, as for the LA Thieves, I really like Temp. Temp's always seems to his price always seems to be chilling in the 7,000 range. I really think he has high upside. He's had a 100 point game already, 100 point match, and a DFS points, may I add. But I think that price is very good for him. I wouldn't put him in the cap at 10,500, but out of this team, the one who I would put in cap would either be Slasher or TJ Halley. Slasher or TJ Halley. I feel like Kenny is a good player too, but at that price range, at 13,000, there are other players that I feel have higher upside that would make a better fit in the captain position. So those are my favorite picks. My most favorite pick from the Thieves is Temp, because I feel like his price is just too low. It's always too low. It's always in the 7,000s. Nobody's gonna use him at cap, but he's a good price for flex, and I really like that. So, uh, you know, uh, final opinion is I think probably LA Thieves wins a close 3-2 match, and Temp and Pristini and Octane, uh, you know, benefit from their cheap prices. So let's move on to the next game. And for the last game of the day, we got Optic Chicago and the Toronto Ultra. Man, this is like pay per view right here. Based on what we've seen from, this is the main event basically. Based on what we've seen from these two teams so far, um, I believe Chicago is 2-1. I believe Ultra is 2-1 as well. Um, Based on what we've seen from these teams, this is going to be a 3-2 matchup. I don't think any of these teams sweep each other. I doubt that happens. Very, very unlikely. This game is going down to the wire, in my opinion, unless Optic for some reason win a search and destroy, or win the first search and destroy, and win the hard points, the first hard point, and then the control. I don't I don't think this game is gonna be a sweep or a 3-1. I really think it's going to be a 3-2, and both of these teams have had like good opposition. Chicago, they 3-0'd Paris, and they lost to FaZe, but I really feel like this team is I really feel like Chicago is going to you know be a force to be reckoned with this season, as well as Toronto. Like what we've seen from Toronto so far is just it's giving me the same vibes from what we saw last year in Modern Warfare season, because they are a very strong team. They've always stood up to every team that they play. They're a respectable team. You know, they aren't top three, or they weren't top three last year, but we have yet to see that now. We just know that whatever team they've played, they've stood up hard to them. Um, and they've showed that they got capabilities of dominating. They dominated the Florida Mutineers. They played phase. They lost 3-1, but they played good against them. Um, I really think that Chicago is going to win. Um, I don't think Ultra is going to take the hard points from Optic. I don't think they're going to take the control. I really think that maybe they might take the search, but I think that if Optic take the second, they take the search and destroy and the first hard point. I think that they're gonna win. Um, the prices, I really, really, really like Optic's prices. Um, Formal 6,600. That is amazing. That is, I don't know if we're ever gonna see Formal at these prices again. I mean, that might be too dramatic to say, but I don't know why they're so cheap. They are very good. You know, I feel like the Ultra are more expensive based on not hype, but you got to remember they beat the Florida Mutineers, and the Florida Mutineers they got swept yesterday. So it might have just been not a fluke, but just a 3-1 against a team that isn't as strong as people thought they were. They did lose to Phase 3-1. So you got to remember that. You got to remember that when you take into account who you think is going to win, in the long run. You always have to think about that. How strong are their previous opposition, and how strong are they going to be? Um, at these prices, Optic is just juicy. Envoy is at 8,200. Formal is at 6,000. Scump, who's usually the cheapest one, is the second most expensive. So that's crazy. Dashi, obviously the most expensive one, 9,800. He has the highest upside, 14,700 at cap. Dashi's a good play for me. Uh, I would have to put him at cap because I know his upside is great. It's a high climb from his flex price, but he's a beast, so I'm willing to pay that. That's one of the picks I might have. Um, Envoy, man, that flex price is so good for him. 8,200. I don't think Envoy should ever be that close to $800. I mean, $8,000. But for some reason, he is in this position against the Toronto Ultra. Um, the line, just for reference, Optic Chicago is favored to win minus 315, uh, and Toronto Ultra to win is plus 225. That's why I really am curious why these prices are so cheap. Especially especially if the games are gonna go, 5 games or even 4 games. You can still get a good value from both Formal and Envoy. I think Scump, I think his upside is a little lower, just because his price is a little higher now. It's like a couple thousand higher than it was previously. Last time I looked at his price, yeah, Formal and Envoy, man, those are two very good prices. Um, Formal, who knows? He might not have a insane upside, but he's just a solid player. You you can't go wrong. You cannot possibly go wrong with Formal at 6,600. He'd have to throw a freaking goose egg. He'd have to just absolutely be clammy hand. I don't know, something's wrong with him for 6,000 to not pay off, as his price tag. So I think in this whole game, Formal is the one you want to look at as your like extreme value play, and then Envoy, and then on the Toronto side, I really like Kleenex at the flex position. He's 8,600. His cap is 12,900. Um, he's a very good player too. I really like his price. Cammy is very expensive, but he's a solid player. We've seen what he can do. Um, they can post up a lot of points when they win the hard points, right? Um, because in search and destroy you don't really get that many points, but they do count. But in the respawn games is where it matters the most. If they can win the respawns, they usually get a lot of points. So Cammy, you know, in a win, he's a good play. I wouldn't play him at the captain position right now at 15,000. I think there are other players that have a good upside, based on what teams they're playing. Like Hugh, uh, Bance, 11,100 for the cap and 7,400 for the flex. He's a good pick too. My favorite overall picks though from this game are Formal, Envoy, and if I had to pick one on the Ultra side, probably Bance or Kleenex. Methods is a good price too, 6,400. You could go with him. If you have a little salary problems and you just need a decent player, you could go with him too. You might get a good stat line if they win, of course, but I really think that the Optic Chicago are going to win this game. It's going to be a close war, I believe. These two teams are very good. Um, and yeah, this game is going to be very exciting to watch. Now, like I've always said, I'm gonna make a video for tomorrow's games, and I'm gonna try to make them earlier so they come out on time. And yeah, these are the Call of Duty games for the CDL Super Week 3. And if you like the content, remember, always stick around. This channel is going to be providing you with a lot of CDL content in the future. And, I just want to make this the ESPN of Call of Duty, or the DFS Central, if you will. But, yeah, if you like the content, remember, stick around and